We're rolling. We're live as Paper Tuesdays. Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening.
Yes, hello there. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to see what's going on in Paper Tuesdays world. Right, Marc. Right.
Okay.
I've been thinking, so I like to get into the space of the podcast a few hours beforehand, and other people call that doing their homework late.
Yes.
But I call it chewing on what is it in the world that I can bring today. So I thought I was going down different avenues, and I've decided that I'm going to share a personal experience that I had during the past week.
Okay.
So, Marc, for the past few months, my hands have been in bits.
Okay.
And my eczema has flared up dramatically. Paper Tuesdays, YouTube guests now can see the eczema. It's quite flared up. Very bad. Very bad. Can be related to stress. It definitely was triggered through stress.
Okay.
Of the house building. However, now, if you ask my fiancée Ashlyn, she would say that I just need to apply cream more regularly.
Yes.
I disagree with this approach. I do a bit of the cream, but I just believe that I don't believe that the skin on the surface, on the outer surface, can be so influenced when it has to come from within. Okay. So I have been searching long and hard for solutions to come from within.
Okay.
Have you ever had a skin ailment?
Yeah, I had not eczema. What's the other thing? Psoriasis. That was stress-induced as well.
It can be indeed, yes.
Tried to fix it through diet. It wasn't. Tried all these different diets to fix it. It didn't. I eventually, whatever was stressing me out, subsided.
Oh.
And
we
then
just
it went
need
away.
to get into the house.
Yeah.
But anyway, Marc, I tried to exhaust new options, and I fasted from water and food.
Wait, you had no water?
I had no water and I had no food from Monday lunchtime until Thursday lunchtime.
Jesus Christ, Michael.
3 days.
Without water?
Yeah.
Michael. Food I can get behind.
So, Marc, let me tell you about the science.
Okay.
I've always wanted to say that.
Okay.
Let me tell you about the science, Marc. For the third day, you go into ketosis. Yeah. And basically, since it's a dry fast, it is accelerated. Okay. Now, my hands have not significantly improved since the dry fast, so maybe they magically improve in a few days' time. But my goodness, I never knew the internal experience of fasting is an incredible one. Okay, right. Take me through it. So there's this Telegram channel that I'm part of, and there's this lad, and he's always saying about fasting and stuff. And one of the lads in the group said how you feel your soul more by the end of it. Okay. And I thought it was just a tokenistic expression. I understood what he meant by the end of it. Okay. Because it's like you've given up, your digestive system is closed down, and in turn, like, you're left totally with yourself. And yeah, I definitely could sense that more and more. And I've been waking up with these vivid thought expressions of what I need to do. And like, it's very, very deep. So I'm tuning into that more and more. And I love that. Spring gives me life. So I was wondering, Marc, so first of all, so I was going to talk about fasting, but to be honest, this is more about internal machinations. Machinations is a lovely word too. That internal...
Mashed potatoes. Which you didn't have on your fast. You had no internal mashed potatoes.
But these internal mashed potatoes are the workings of what goes on inside us to produce the external. And I'm a firm believer that everything comes from the inside, that it's our thoughts that create our actions, and we've discussed it before, obviously at great length, because this is what we both tune into and what we both express in different ways. You through your work as a personal trainer, me through my my philosophical musings. So from your experience as a personal trainer, Marc, can you think of examples where the internal has resulted in a very external result?
For a client?
For a client, for you, for someone that you've seen. And like, obviously, David Goggins doesn't get to where he is without that internal trigger, that internal decision within his head that he is going to be a hard motherfucker.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. It's all internal, isn't it? Like, it's all self-defeatism is kind of when you go back and you go off your diet or whatever, and then you can fuck it off. And it is, most of the results do come from your diet, and your training is obviously going to be, it's going to add the extra calories out or whatever, but most of it comes from just your self-control, your willingness to restrict yourself from eating, not entirely as you did, but to a degree. Like, there's a lot of self-talk that has to come with that. Like, there is the emotional eating response is, it comes on fast. It's not like a slow hunger that builds and then you feel it really quickly and intensely, and you would think, I'm starving, I need to get rid of this, and the food is a distraction from that. So it's that cue, trigger, reward. Now, you can't change the cue and you can't change the trigger, but you can change the reward. So instead of going, okay, I have this feeling now, I'm stressed or I'm anxious, the trigger is, sorry, the cue is the thing that makes you stressed or anxious. The trigger is the emotion that comes up in you, and then the result will be going and comfort eating a packet of Pringles or something. Whereas you can change the reward. So instead of using Pringles to overcome that trigger, you can go for a walk, you can focus on your breath, let it pass and subside. So that's the emotional part of it you have to overcome when you're changing your health and your fitness. So that's where the mental journey of it comes from, and a lot of people can discount that, and I have in the past as well, to just say, oh sure, you just go in a calorie deficit and it's that simple, and personal trainer just tell you it's the simplest calorie deficit, you just do that, that's it. And then people are like, well, why can't I fucking do it then? Why is it so hard? It's like there's emotional things you need to overcome within yourself first.
Overcome. I think it might be a stoic word, but for me, in my head, when I think about it, I'm not sure if I fully agree with the word overcome, because, but like it's probably what's that word when it's probably, what's the word when it absolutely probably doesn't matter, but anyway,
Go on.
it probably doesn't matter. But something that strikes me about diet and stuff is that sometimes people is overeating because they don't feel whole. And when I mean whole, that they don't feel fully themselves, that they feel like they have to input something else to get that feeling of satiation.
It's literally filling the void. Yeah.
And that strikes a deep chord with me, because to be honest, I think I probably went through that, and I think I probably was overeating like when I was younger or whatever. And it's only in resonating with that I can see that, like, yes, it might be overcoming, but I think it more, something that's more in tune with me is letting go. And I think that through the last week I've seen as well the benefits of letting go and growing as a result. That it's almost like a catch-22, like how can you let go and something grow? But it's the two seem contradictory, but they're two forces that work in tandem together, I feel.
Is it acceptance?
Acceptance is massive.
So is acceptance the same as letting go?
Yeah.
So if you can accept, then it can be allowed to grow once it's accepted.
And there you have it. Accept the outcome, I think.
Yeah.
Accept the outcome, because, and then if you're accepting the outcome, it's a form of overcoming. It's just that otherwise overcoming has this sense of it's a mission, or it's a battle.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're designed to. Yes, there is a battle that we all go through. I believe that we're fighting a battle, good and evil, every day. But how we defeat that isn't true. Well, it can be true with David Goggins type mindset, but a more healthier version in myself is tuned into yourself and letting go and surrendering. Carl Jung said that the key to anything is to accept everything. And see, with self-help and stuff, Mark, I believe that it's a very it's like pick and mix for what you want to do with life. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I want that, I want to manifest, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to accept my third cousin who has views that really differ from me, or I don't want to agree with the woman down the street because I think she's a lunatic.
Yeah. Like
we create these barriers within ourselves, and we can't then accept the whole.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that I would never have really tuned into energy. I would have dismissed it as it's only for Reiki healers or whatever. But I'm starting to understand that since maybe our Barry stuff and all that, we're all responding to energy. And in my head, anyway, there's a massive change in energy over the last few months. There's just something like France at the moment, Mark, is just they're storming buildings. There's
What?
Oh,
France now.
France is having a right crack of everything. Let me have a look now and find the French Revolution for you of today. But like buildings on fire and protests and where's it now?
So while you're doing that, Michael,
Yeah.
I just thought there, I have no relationship with the news, obviously, as we've discussed. And big news in my world yesterday was there was a pile of stones across the road from the 64 in a bag, and there was cones around the bag of stones, and they were taped off. And I was like, how is this? What's going on here? And then that was big news in my world, was the bag of stones across the road from the 64. And I had no idea that France was on fire.
That's fair enough, yeah. Oh, this is a TikTok of France at the moment. It looks like an army sort of machine.
This isn't what TikTok was made for. TikTok was made for funny dances, wasn't it?
Funny dances. And now it's dramatic music with...
Your phone smells great.
How is that?
It smells like aftershave. Where is this? This is like a H&M or something, is it?
Yeah.
The music is very tense. Okay, so I'll try to describe what's going on here. There's a man that looks a bit like Shane with a mask on, walking around with a camera. There's a load of cars backed up, loads of men with guns and stuff. Very tense music, but not a whole lot happening. There's a fight breaking out here now of some description. What are they hiding from, Michael?
I haven't a clue. Do you know what?
Are these mercenaries?
No, I don't think so.
Are they missionaries? Father Brown. Was he a missionary?
He was. How did you know that?
Okay, he got kidnapped or something, didn't he?
Did he? I never knew that.
I think someone might have made that part up.
This is France there again.
Wow. Fucking hell. That's it.
It's building on fire anyway.
A bomb, is it?
Oh, I doubt it.
Who is doing this to France?
Themselves. They're having rows.
It's only yourselves you're codding, lads.
What do you mean?
It's their own country. You blow everything up, there's nothing left once you fucking take it back. Absolutely stupid.
Oh, you tell them, Mark.
Yeah, shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. But I just think the old is crumbling, and like we've all this. I think of a new appreciation for County Wexford and stuff, and all the GA clubs are going through something similar this year with less numbers playing.
Yeah,
and like
you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think that there's a deeper thing here that like lads aren't happier in their home place and they want to go travel, and part of it is like, yeah, go travel. Sure, why not? Sure, we're in multicultural you're able to get to Australia within a day or whatever. Like, sure, go do it, explore. Yeah. But then a little bit of me is like, well, do you need to go?
Do you need to go?
Maybe it's just everyone's built differently or whatever, but I am happier not traveling, I think.
And Breed is the same.
Really?
Yeah. But I am the opposite. I like travel. I like to see new cultures. I like to experience that what we have here isn't the way that it is. We are not 100% correct about everything, and neither is the other culture. It's just that's the way they do it there. Just different cultures, different lifestyles, and you see that the way what's expected of the citizens of that country throughout their lives is different to what we expect of people here. So it's not, say, I don't know, even the way people interact with each other, like officials or like working in an office environment in Australia, people would call each other cunt and stuff, and like it wouldn't really happen here. No, I don't know, maybe it does in your office, but it's fun, I think, to see that, and it's eye-opening to see that where you live and what you've grown up with is not the way everyone else has grown up, and they're fine.
And they're fine.
So that breaks down some of the barriers that you think are restrictions placed on you growing up that are absolute truths.
Yeah.
And you see that the world is a bit more open and it's a bit more fluid. There's a bit more freedom. And you don't have to play exactly by the rules of your home state. Yeah. And that's for me subjectively. And that You clearly don't need that. Breed doesn't need that. She doesn't want it. She doesn't crave it. I craved it. That's why I wanted to see different cultures.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. So it does work for some people hate traveling and they go do it because they feel like they should do it and they hate it and they come home broke and miserable. But if you're willing to take that risk, go and take it, because how else are you going to know? So I would encourage travel.
Yeah. Just to look back on last week's episode, Mark, we poked a bear, really.
Oh, who?
The bear of the past.
The bear of the past.
Yeah.
The bear of Christmas past.
The bear Kennedy.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people were really taken by our talk on the protests.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of figures messaged us. Did you get back to any of them?
No. Oh, well, I just posted a story and I was talking to a few people in person as well.
Okay, yeah. So you were kind of like, when a bad event happens, touch wood, and never happened to anyone, but when the counsellors go in and they talk about, so you counselled the people that were still affected by the protest.
What's it called? I was on ground level, or foot patrol.
Foot patrol, yeah. Favorite choose is foot patrol. Yeah. So there were some people saying that there were other factors involved, and I don't think that our podcast is the place to explore those other factors, but but just as an editor's note to say that our commentary of last week may have been affected by other factors of other incidences.
Extenuating factors, no, what they say.
Extenuating circumstances, yeah. I like that. Mark, have you any games from memory that you'd like to bring up?
I have no games from memory, but I did have a list of things I was proud of being Irish for.
Oh, wow, right.
So Ireland has won the Eurovision more times than any other country. But in the last 14 years, we've only placed in the top 10 once.
Right, okay. And you're proud of all of that?
Proud of all of that. Back when it was a proper institution, we ran the show. And now it is posturing, and it is patriarchal, and it is neonatal. No, what's the word? Where you give it to
neo-Marxist
whatever. Yes, neo-Marxist communism. I have no time for the Eurovision anymore, but we won it when it was good. Ireland is also the only country that has a musical instrument as its national symbol.
Oh, fair play, Mark. Yeah, that's a good point.
And we have a harp.
Yeah.
What else? We invented Halloween.
We did, yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
No mention of it in all the American films.
No.
Noted. What else? What makes you proud of being Irish, Michael?
Our rapport.
Our rapport.
Worldwide rapport. You go into anywhere and they might think you're drunk, but it doesn't matter. They still look at you with a different glint in their eye because you're Irish.
To counter that. What about the signs about no blacks, no dogs, no Irish?
In the past.
But now they like us.
Yeah.
I think so too. Because we let them build their big fucking corporations here and tax them pennies.
Yeah, but they want to get their corporations back.
Do they?
America. Trump was over here and he said, Trump was very funny when he was asked about it. He was like, no, that's something that I'll deal with when I'm over there.
That's something.
I don't do that here. I play golf here. I talk tax there. But,
yes, people do seem to like Irish people. Particularly, like, you go to the Canaries or anywhere like that, Tenerife or Lanzarote. They're like, oh, you're Irish, you'll come into my bar and all. It's like, oh, you better not be English. That's what they'd say.
Yeah.
Or like the Lucky Men.
Yeah.
They would learn Irish and they'd shout Irish words at you from the street and try to talk to you in Irish.
Yeah, there's one lad on TikTok there I've seen, like, if you tell him what county you're from, he'll go through a list, like, he's memorised lists of, like, I don't know if it's all counties, but, like, in Donegal I seen a video, and, like, he gave the family there, gave him Donegal, and he was naming all towns and villages around Donegal, like, and it's like kind of like a, when you memorise like a song, like, it's just straight out off the bat. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that with Wexford.
No, but, like, I suppose I think when you're Irish you get more nuggets of just great crack, moments of great crack. I don't know what you're going to call them, banter moments or something.
With other nationalities.
In general, I think. Because I think that's something that is... you know that podcast that you sent me, John O'Donoghue?
Yes.
And he mentions about Irish music. And Irish music is so illustrative. And that, like, even the happy songs have a sense of the sorrow that can be in life as well. And the upbeatness of the tune can even hint we're happy.
Yeah.
And sometimes life isn't happy.
Wheelie Walia. You know that song? There was an old
Please
woman and she lived in the woods. A wheelie, Walia. You know that song?
Yeah, you do. It's fun.
Have you ever listened to the rest of the lyrics of that
No.
song? It's about fucking a woman murdering a baby.
Right.
Her child. Second, because we used to have this sang to us in primary school. And one day I was in the car and I was just singing it back to myself. And I was like, we learned that in primary school. The Walia song lyrics. Alright. There was an old woman and she lived in the woods. A wheelia, Walia. There was an old woman and she lived in the woods down by the river Sawyer. She had a baby 6 months old. Wheelia, Walia. She had a baby 6 months old down by the river Sawyer. It's writ Sawyer, but it's pronounced Sawyer. So, she had a penknife 3 foot long. Wheelia, Walia. She had a penknife 3 foot long down by the river Sawyer. She stuck the penknife in the baby's heart. A wheelia, Walia. The more she stuck it, the more it bled down by the river Sawyer. 3 big knocks came knocking at the door. Wheelia, Walia. 3 policemen and 6 more down by the river Sawyer. Are you the woman who killed a child? Wheelia, Walia. Are you the woman who killed a child down by the river Sawyer? Yes, I'm the woman who killed that child. Wheelia, Walia. Yes, I'm the one who killed that child down by the river Sawyer. The moral of the story is, wheelia, Walia, don't stick knives in babies' hearts down by the river Sawyer.
Okay.
We had that sang to us in 5th class.
I didn't even know that was an Irish
Did you
song.
not?
Like, yeah.
It was sang by the Dubliners, I think. That's if you look it up on
right.
or
Okay.
what you call it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's so music, and somehow it was connected to just Irishness in general. That like, do you remember when you weren't there, Mark? I was in the Gaeltacht in Kerry, and there were these 2 Tipperary lads. I think I've told before, and I don't know how, but we were on the way back from study, and they just burst into singing, dancing at the crossroads. And these are 2 lads that had no connection with Wexford, and they knew every word. Damien Fitzhenry, Ger Cush, Sean Flood, Rod Guine. And to hear these Tipperary lads with their thick baling accents, thick farmers, coming out with these like Wexford ones, it's like, this is brilliant. But I'll tell you another Irish thing, Mark happened. I was meeting a loyal listener of the podcast, Ben Egan, shout out to Ben, yesterday, and we were going down to a Gory match, and I rang him, and I said, Ben, I'm going to be 5 minutes late because the most Irish thing has ever happened. My third cousin that I never knew existed has just walked into my granny's kitchen from Australia.
Wow. That is very, yeah.
Paddy fixes airplanes. He's from Brisbane. So
You've never met him?
No, but he's third cousin or whatever.
Had your granny met him?
Yeah, but years ago, yeah.
Wow. Had he an Australian accent?
No, not really. But he had an Australian way of viewing the world, as you say, Mark, because something there was a conversation started and it was probably a little bit negative or something. He said, "Now we're not going to be negative. We're going to be positive." I thought, you have been out of this country, my friend.
Yes. You can take your positivity and take it back home with you.
But maybe we all need a little bit of a Paddy, just, I don't know, in the back of a cupboard there. I'd say Paddy could be in there now, that little corner behind you there.
I used to think people lived in there.
Oh, yeah?
It's a bit eerie in there.
Yeah,
do you want to go in?
Yeah. No, thank you.
We can do it on the Patreon someday.
It's kind of like, do you remember when Bertie Hurd was in the cupboard?
No.
Oh, you have to. The Edinburgh News.
Was it? Was this a while ago?
Yeah.
Not long after he was out of office, wasn't it?
Something like that, but I think his line was, I never think I'd end up in here or something. Bertie Hurd advert. Yeah. How did you get on with the submarine after, Mark?
Oh, so still pressing matters.
Pressing matters.
It looks like a good vehicle, a good ship. So there's one single button they press and it brings them down to the Titanic.
Oh, right.
So it's like an elevator. You just press it and it goes down. And they have like a Nintendo Switch to drive, to steer it.
Yeah, but Mark, they're dead, like.
They are not dead, Michael. Don't say that. If they find a Titanic, that will then open the door for the rest of us. That has been a lifelong dream of mine.
Mark.
A Titanic. Yeah. A lifelong dream. Also,
John, there's more trouble brewing in Gangland, and I've got the inside story for you.
who's that lad? In the fridge.
I shouldn't see that.
Guess which footballer's been caught with his pants down again?
Time to refresh your wardrobe.
Never thought I'd end up here, but I've delayed us on today's big match.
Why is Bertie Hearn doing the sport?
The big story.
What was I saying, Michael?
What were you saying? You were saying about the submarine, Mark, and I kind of distracted you with Bertie
sorry.
Hearn in the cupboard there.
I've forgotten.
You've forgotten?
I've forgotten. I had something.
Oh,
I had
something
a
else.
big question. I was going to blow the fucking doors wide open and the podcast was going
What?
to take off as a result, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I'm sure it'll come back to you with your little crocs.
Have you ever looked into coding?
Yeah, but I have other things to be doing.
Coding is interesting. I read an article on it. And now I am going to be a coder.
Okay.
But I had no fucking idea. Like, I can't even use Excel. But do you know how computer language works?
No.
I don't either, but this is what I read. So, it's all ones and zeros.
Right.
Actually, the first computers were huge, right? So
Okay.
what's going on in your computer is little switches are flicking all the time to make it do stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all these portals and it's opening and closing different pathways, so it'll do different things based on your commands that you give it. And originally it was people opening and closing those switches on the massive computers.
Oh.
The very first ones.
Right.
So then they were like, the computer scientists were like, this takes too much fucking time and effort to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to create a language that will move them automatically. And that language is specifically ones and zeros. But it would be, one would be open and zero would be close, or the other way. So they would have to go open, close, open, close, open, close, and all these different ones. But that was also very confusing and long to write. The code that would flick the switches by itself. So you would write, that code would be 0110001, and that specific one would open and close the switches in that sequence.
That's amazing.
But then that was obviously too long and too confusing. So they started writing another language on top of that, on top of the ones and zeros, that would then type that into ones and zeros. So that would create, whatever you typed would translate that to the computer to ones and zeros. That would then move the switches. So there's different layers to it. And then that was obviously became too confusing. It was like, all the brackets and ... do this. It was a bit like the things you put in Excel, the commands.
Okay.
But then that also, you can't keep doing that. So then they manage to process it on top again, and that's where you can type. So when you type, it will then become, no, I'm pretty be correct me on this if I'm wrong. I read, this was an article I read. But that will then translate to the one above the ones and zeros. So there's like 4 layers of language that goes, and at the bottom of it all, it's just little switches flicking on and off
Oh my gosh.
in the computer. That's what computer language or computer programming is.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's very interesting.
My goodness.
And that's what makes everything come up. So like it's interesting. You just type a word. You're like, I typed L and L came up, but it's like it goes through a whole series of languages for that L to come up on your screen after you press it.
Yeah. I'm going off now. I'm going to launch this.
Okay.
So that reminds me of infinity loops. That like this, everything spins off. So what they've done there in trying to make things quicker with the computer, it could actually lead to a chip in someone's brain. Because I think Neuralink is actually building on the same sort of coding
Yeah.
in a long, long way leading to that, yeah?
So that's what they're looking at, is eventually being able to turn on and off different neurons.
Yeah, I suppose so. Open to correction, obviously, but like just inferring how would they be able to manipulate the human mind, or as it has been, to open up new portals of instant access through these chips.
Maybe it's the neurons that flick on. What is Neuralink? Like, what is the purpose of it? Is it like an infinity pill or limitless pill, or is it? It's going to let you see screens like the Apple thing. See the Apple product that came out?
With the goggles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a screen in front of you.
I think though this could like turn education on its head. I think that's the biggest thing, that like, well, sure, why would you need to go to school if you have it already?
You can download it into your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered infinity loops and like its effect? And
No, is this like, I've never heard of it. Is it like, the butterfly flapping it, the butterfly effect?
well, it's kind of like, it's the number 8. I think it's a horizontal number 8. And now I haven't looked into it, but you see people with tattoos of
Yes.
the infinity loop.
Yeah.
So like it's look, I haven't done a whole lot of research, but like it's kind of like that. Everything just comes back together, and like to me, when we look at the physics of the world, I like the infinity loop has to be at the end of it. Like it's almost that like no matter what climate change emerges or whatever, that like it's all going to come back. It's all going to sort itself out. Like as you pointed before, we're here and the whole universe is there. You know, we're a tiny speck in everything that's going on, and like I don't have the proof, but one of my philosophical understands is that it's all part of this loop. Everything, and it's like that phrase, to bring a very religious dimension into it. Well, Ramdas has this phrase, we all come from God and unto God we shall return. It's like no matter what goes out, it comes back, and it goes out again and it comes back. And like it's a very, no matter how difficult life can be, it's a very calming effect when you think that no matter what is going on, still going to settle.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
And
even sorry to interrupt, like just on the climate change thing. So that, are you looking at that as, see, that could be, you're looking at the world as the whole, whereas climate change could end the world, but it would still be the outer universe, the infinity. So the Earth could end. It doesn't mean the universe is going to end.
The Earth could end. Yeah, possibly. I think that's very high thinking. Yeah. I think that climate change in general, like, are we polluting the world? Yes. How do we unpollute the world?
We get rid of Scotland, because that's where all the litter is.
Scotland, okay. Right you go. And I tell you what, there's not a hope in hell that they're going to get rid of the country that won the most Eurovisions.
We are not.
Paper Tuesday, signing off.
God bless Johnny Logan.